I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending December the 1st, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Brangus cattle have always been known for being heat tolerant, but did you know that they can withstand cold weather too? Brangus cattle adapt well to any environment, and the International Brangus Breeders Association recommends that you go Brangus this sales season. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit gobrangus.com. I'd like to talk this weekly summary here about the difference between the board and the market. I was installing some National Beef wires last week. On Friday I was in Bowling Green, Missouri, installing one. I had a producer come up behind me and wanted to see what the board was doing. He saw that the board was tanking and just immediately it ruined his day. He was grumbling, walking off, talking about him beating up the board and everything. Now, I think a lot of us feel like that. Don't get so excited when the board goes down that you think the market has cratered. It's kind of like the stock market being down 100 points and you decide to cash in your 401k or something like that. Don't worry so much about that. You know, this past week, our fat cattle on weighted average was up nearly $2, and we didn't see that coming. We were expecting it to be lower. Your feeder cattle markets were all higher. Real-time index, the average for your 700 to 900 pound steers was up nearly $4, and still under heavy supplies after last week's lighter runs due to the Thanksgiving Day holiday. We had a gangbuster week of cash markets, and a lot of people are down in the doldrums because your late week board crashed. You know, a lot of that had to do with getting into December just a few business days away from being able to tender delivery. We had guys in the northern plains that had not sold cattle while the southern plains had sold cattle higher. Guy in the northern plains knew they were going to get more money. Then they could start some grumblings about maybe delivering some cattle because they were working with a negative basis on the December board. They started rumors of maybe being some deliveries out there. Your longest longs, which were undoubtedly some funds and people that had no interest in anything to do with deliveries of fat cattle at their front door, and they started selling off, and then it just started rolling down, and then it worked right into your northern feeders' hands. They were able to get the higher price for their cash feeders, and then they were able to gain $2 to $3 on their basis. Which is the difference between the cash market and the futures, and it worked out great. The problem is that's how the board works. It just rolls up and rolls down. It's a tool for risk management. It is not necessarily an indicator for what the market is today. And is your cash market a slave to the board? Basically, because everybody feels that way. You know, it's like a bank scare. When things start going down, if everybody thinks it's going to go down, by gosh, it's going to go down. And the same way going the other way. But, you know, I think we shouldn't worry so much about what the board is on a daily basis. Maybe look at it on a week's trend or how it's relating to the cash market. But see what your cash fat cattle are worth. See what your cattle, your calves, and your yearlings are bringing in your local sale barn. Things like that. Your box beef cutout values. Things that are real. A level at which people are willing to pay real money for real product. And I think that would, if people would do that overall, we wouldn't see so much volatility in things. But your live cattle board for February contracts, Monday was up $1.47, Tuesday down 37 cents, Wednesday up 92, Thursday's when the fall off start, down 162, and after that down market, traded fat cattle $3 higher, and after the $3 higher fat cattle cash trade, Friday's board was down to $3 limit. Makes no sense. Your February live cattle contracts ended the week at $121.97, down $2.60. December spot live cattle at $117.22, and most of your hedged cattle feeders are not upset about that being down at all, because that's a nice basis for them to work with. January feeder cattle, Monday was up $1.15, Tuesday up a nickel, Wednesday up $1.07. Thursday the fall off started on feeder cattle too, because the feeder cattle board is just a derivative of the live cattle board. Thursday was down $1.40, Friday down $3.85. Some of the further out fronts were all down over $4. with your January feeder cattle contract ending the week at 150.32, down just almost $3 for the week. Fats. Through Thursday, it sold 69,100 head in the 5-area feeding region. That is not enough for your packers to keep what they need. It's not enough for your feeders to stay current. But some cleanup trade maybe on Friday. We'll see how much. I didn't hear much of anything going on out there. But undoubtedly there was a few trades, but we're not going to get up into that 90,000 area where we need to be selling cattle every week. But that 121, that was $3 higher than last week in the Southern Plains. Nobody knew that the market was going to do that except for your packers. Nobody knew how bad they needed cattle except for your packers, coming off of a holiday week there, kind of a slow kill week, and then it was the last big push to get product for the Christmas holidays. After this, and we already see it in your box beef cutout values, it's starting to tail off because we're getting so close to Christmas that we can't get everything moved through the system in time. But live fat cattle trade was 120 to 121 with a weighted average of almost 120.70. That's near $2 higher than a weighted average. That's very significant on a week where we thought we were going down. Dress trade almost entirely at 190, and your weighted average is actually going to be a little higher than that. That's a positive note. Your slaughter was humongous, 649,000. Nobody saw that coming. That's one of the biggest slaughter weeks of the whole year, and it's a post-holiday one. Not usually one of your biggest weeks, but it sure was this past week. Compare that to the same week a year ago, it was up 33,000 head. Box beef cutout values were lower as I talked. We're getting so close now that we're not able to get everything through the system and take advantage of all that holiday demand. People out hustling, bustling, and rushing home with their treasures and pulling into a steakhouse to have a nice dinner and ordering ribeye logs for parties and things like that. But choice cutouts, the average of last week's trade was 207.08, down 162. Select 185.63, down 267. Choice select spread nearly $21.50, but decent movement with 781 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Look at your feeder markets now. Real-time index on Beef Market Central, your average of 7 to 900 pound steers up through the 12-state region. Ended the week at 154.23. That was up $3.72 for the week, and that is a huge gain right there. Cash feeders in your sale barn trends for the week firmed to $5 higher, but it was heavy on the $3 to $5 higher. We've got good demand out there. Harvest is long over, so we're not. We've got all your farmer feeders that still need cattle in the market. We're starting to get some wean calves coming in again because the guys that got finished harvesting early and they had time, they went in and weaned their calves. Now those calves have been weaned 30, 45 days, and they're starting to bring those into the sale with good demand and good prices there. You look how good the calf market was. Burwell, Nebraska always blows everybody else away. Right there, you can watch them almost, and seasonally you can watch them every week on Friday there on dvauction.com. But you look at the big lots of calves that they had on Friday. Just give you a rundown of some bigger drafts of real top quality calves and how high they can sell. You look here, 561 head of calves in Burwell bring 197. Some lighter ones weighing 532. Now these are drafts of over 50 head, bring 200 and 250. Big draft of 480 pound steers bring 212.50, and some light little peewee flyweight calves, top quality, 379 pounders, 231.75. So there's plenty of demand for calves out there. You look at some offering that's going to be here Monday evening. Virginia Cattlemen's Association, the Abington Feeder Cattle Association branch of that, they've got their tele-auction, going to be right here on DV Auction at 6 o'clock Eastern time. They've got 19 pot loads of cattle to sell. They'll be a long time weaned. They're all straightened out, had all their shots. Everything will be right. Get on that online sale and bid and just get on there and watch it, see what's going on, get interested in it. They have those on Mondays when cattle are moving, and it's a good place to find some real good cattle. Looking at an individual quote late in the week, Bluegrass Stockyards in Richmond, Kentucky. 11 o'clock Friday morning, 105 head of big steers, weighed 939 pounds, bring 150.10. That's a look at your week's markets from a home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.